I am definitely risking that copyright stuff right there for that Gundam music to start us off with. But, you know, Japanese copyright rules are probably a little bit different than ours in America. But let's hang out. Let's build some Gundam together tonight. We're going to be working on Wing Zero as well. I'm going to start some cool techniques as I've been looking over this final piece that we need to build. Is the Buster Rifle, as well as we need to sand this part down of the shield. So really excited to show this off tonight on our final few things here for, once again, Wing Zero to be done. What does he currently look like right now? Put him on the shelf, put him on a stand. This is what we're looking at right now. He's actually looking pretty solid for a high grade build across the board there. No panel lining actually for the legs or for the wings yet, which is, once again, it came out pretty awesome. So I'm excited to do that. That'll be probably our final thing that we do for Wing Zero in general. We're going to let him sit right here on the edge. But we're at an interesting stage here with this Buster Rifle. Some of the first things I started out with is that I actually filled in these little areas to make it solid on both sides. It's solid over here, but it wasn't solid over there. It was a little bit hollow. So I filled that in with some epoxy putty, and we're going to clip that off and clean it up as well to get it ready for painting. Just straight up painting there afterwards. But this has become very interesting. I'll show you why. So I brought the master grade version of half of the Buster Rifle, and if you'll notice, there is yellow over here, as well as yellow over here. Not too abnormal. Solid piece, just like we mentioned again. Sorry guys, this is from my I've had better days of building type deal. I could use a redo, that's for sure. But as we have this yellow here, granted, I knew we weren't going to have the yellow on the high grade, so this is the area that we were looking at right here. It does not have our yellow right there, which is fine. We're going to paint that. No problems there at all. But the problem is that right here, this is the inside version, and you can see that we don't even have a line right here to distinguish the difference between the two. So we're going to have to do a little bit of actually work here to make this happen. So we're going to scribe into this and scribe over here as well to make it actually work just like our other one. So we're going to start first by building it, to then go ahead and start doing our other parts there as well, which is fixing the molding per se, or actually in this case probably a little bit of the engineering behind it. So some fun work to make this happen. We're also, because this is a split piece, it's going to have a nasty seam line, so we're going to do some seam line repair work here too. And the final thing I'll mention about this is that it's a soft plastic. It's quite soft, which is kind of normal for some of our gray parts like this. It's like borderline PC part, meaning one of that soft plastic that you don't want to bend up. Indeed, it is very interesting. So it's it puts us to work, that's for sure, across the board here. Oh, I think we also have another issue as well, guys. I just see the way that it's designed is that these yellow pieces right here, they're going to fit in and squeeze. They're going to be squeezed in between this. And Evo Mikey, I'm super excited to show you some panel lining tonight. Excuse me, not panel lining, my apologies. Some scribing as well tonight. The only problem is that it's not like crazy scribing. It's not like really defining features of the mobile suit. It's just, once again, we're going to use the scribing to help create lines that were supposed to be there but aren't. Nonetheless, though, the method is still the same to go ahead and get them up and running. So we're going to matchy. There we go. Those ones go together. These ones also go together. And yeah, just like I feared, so right here is where these yellow pieces are going to connect in. So we have to paint those first before we even do all of our seam line repair. So it's actually going to be some work to make this thing happen correctly. But we're definitely going to do our scribing portion. So I am going to clean these up just a little bit here and soft snap them. Get an idea where I need to go. I'm not worried about them looking perfect right now, even with my clipping, because I'm going to sand this down because of the, once again, that panel line across the board. So we're going to, you get the triggers here as well. Triggers are mostly going to be covered up with paint. We are going to paint the Buster Rifle. They're not giving it credit. The Buster Rifle actually has 3 different colors on it. It has like a darker gray for this top piece right here, darker gray, lighter gray for right here, back out to the darker gray for the Buster Rifle, lighter gray, darker gray as well. So there's going to be a lot of hand painting. There's going to be some work to get this one done. According to, once again, I did a bad job on this. Please don't use this as an example of what good looks like. But you'll see that there is definitely the different tones of gray throughout it. The yellow was really what I wanted to capture. Oh, looking at that piece, it makes me so mad nowadays. Alrighty, so we have this one ready to be fully soft snapped together. Not a bad looking gun though, in all honesty, even for a high grade. I'm going to leave my yellow pieces off for now because I still once again need to do work. And so we're going to look at some of our measurements here. So our first measurement is, where does this line end up? Right here. I'm going to actually zoom in a little bit. So where does this line end up? Right there. So we're going to use some of our scribing tape to kind of give us the guide right there, and we're going to just wrap it around. On the flip side of this one is pretty easy though. We're not going to scribe in here to make it a little bit smaller at all. On the flip side, we're just literally going to cut in this line because that line does not exist. So this line is what we're talking about right here. We need to scribe that. So I'm using, I actually need to tell you specifically what size it is. It is, as a matter of fact, I might want to go a size up. It's kind of small. No, it's about the same as here. It's about the same. So this is the smallest one of my scribing heads. It is listed as 0.2 millimeters in width. What is that, a micrometer? Are we that small? So, how do you make the scribe line straight? That is a great question. The answer to that is this bad boy. This is scribing tape specifically. It's a nice firm tape in general. This one's only 3 millimeters thick as far as its width goes. And I'll show you how it looks. It's super clear. You're just going to cut it off from our roll. Never ever ever be, how to say, concerned with how much you're using. It's okay to always use more. So I see my line there, and I'm going to place this right here and make it as flush as humanly possible and as lined up as humanly possible as well. There we go. So that's going to help guide me over here. And oh, we have another issue. We have that other peg right there in the way. Additionally, we're not going to be able to move that, which I'm okay with not moving it. We're just going to have to work around it. So let's get in here even closer now. Change up some of our zoom. Alright, so this is what we're looking at. We're even so close now that we're way out of focus. Alright, so we're going to scribe specifically right up against here. We're going to let our tape actually guide us. And it's just, once again, just nice, soft, and smooth. No hard work here. I do count them as well, so I'm at 20 scribes now. Once again, using the tape, letting it guide me. I can do a little bit here as well. Make this nice and smooth, well, a straight cut. The tape, once again, being our guide. And I'm going to be right here. It's a super small line, but I got to be gentle with it because it actually blends into the other one, the actual already existing panel line. And literally, that's all we probably need for this portion right there. And yep, you can see we got our panel lines that actually indicate, hey, this is going to be yellow at the end of the day. How about that? That's it. Now, I've tried to in the past try to reuse tape. If it's been used, don't try to. The dust and everything that gets up on it is just, it messes it up, so it's just better to just leave it alone. Another key point about scribing, and we're going to see it here too, is finding your connecting points. So that particular area was a little bit harder than most, if I'm honest with you. But in this instance, we're going to just once again get the bottom of this to connect right there to that. And just go straight across. So getting our points literally just to line up. This is going to help indicate our yellows once again. And then find a good angle that works for you. So I did 10 that way, and I'm going to flip it around and do 10 the other way. Some early mistakes for me when I started learning how to scribe was also pressing down too hard. It's better to just take your time than it is to press down really hard. And there we go. We got our second scribe line. And now we got the right markings for the yellow on the flip side. So, and yes, so these tungsten blades here, the bigger the size, I think my largest one is a millimeter. The bigger the size, yes, the bigger the panel line in general. So you can do some really cool things with it, but I wanted to keep this one specifically small to match the rest of the other panel lines here. And so, once you have those lines etched in enough, you can take off the tape and literally just still go right in there. And there's 5 more. And each time it just takes a little bit away, but that little bit away really adds up over time. So I do need to sand it, of course, to finish it off, but once again, we have a lot more sanding to do in the first place. But I'm really happy with it. It looks, once again, there's the flip side. This is the actual piece. And there's our other side. It now looks like it matches. Yay! Hello, matching. So that way when we paint this side, we actually will have our yellow that lines up accordingly with the other side. So we got to see some of that tonight. Super excited to show you guys that. That's actually, I haven't had a chance to show that on any of them. across the board there. But scribing for me is a way to fix things more so than a way than to adding like extra panel lines. So I've done it where I've added extra panel lines as well. I have an Exia Gundam where I mimic the real grade panel lines on a high grade kit, and to be honest, it's not that it didn't turn out well. It turned out exactly like the real grade. It took a lot of time, and I don't know that it really changed the flair so much for me. It took away from my initial piece, which was making the final battle of Celestial Being. And so, with that being the case, I felt it was a little bit awkward at the end of the day. So I like the pieces being pretty true to the kit, or true to the anime in general. So I'm not a huge fan of a bunch of panel lines. Weirdly enough, if they're there, I will definitely color them, paint them, make them look great. But I will not looking to really make all those extra etches that don't exist in real life. So that is just my personal preference, though. Of course, if you want to, here's the basic skills on how to panel line, so go forth and do it. Nope, I missed the clipping right there. So there we go. It's actually gonna fit real nicely. I mean, it is a really nice rifle in general. Like that's great. I can even almost live with just the seam lines by themselves. I mean, they're not half bad, but I still know they're there. You know they're there, so we have to fix them. That's the big problem. We know they're there. So, but I am happy with that scribing and how it came out. Real simple this time around. This one's even going to be easier though, because we don't have that peg, since this is the receiving side of the rifle. Scrambling tape is just, once again, it's just a little bit thicker. It's really, really cheap too. And almost every single tool that I've seen online comes with it. Now you can buy smaller ones as well to really help out. I mean, look how easy that was to add on there this time. It was just great. Well, if you want to build a Zoid, go build a Zoid. Nobody's going to stop you, and plus they are great to look at afterwards. Liger 0 for the win. Alright, so I'm going to start from this actual line on the kit itself. To make a nice square angle. Beer Pearls, I heard that you were able to get some soldering skills in. I saw a picture of you up in Orlando. You'll have to tell me about that sometime. And what the gravitational pull was over there. our first pretty much line there going on. Time for one more to finish this up. I sure have built, Evo Mikey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to neglect your question at all. I have built other kits as well, and I will gladly show you one, as he is right behind me. I actually really liked how he came out too. Giant robot flavor. My boy Optimus. So he came out pretty good. Gave a lot of weather. Actually, this is one of my more weathered kits. Came out pretty good in general. And then what would Optimus be without? Megatron. I did actually for Megatron modify his paint job so that he could be more Decepticon-y. They had him like, and Megatron's natural colors are actually red for all these, but I like the dark purple. I wanted to really once again to see very Decepticon-y as well. So yep, there's Optimus, there's Megatron doing their thing. Fusion Cannon. Actually, I got to do my special chrome panel lining as well that I do for this one. So I am looking for other ones. I do want to do Devastator for the Transformers series. He is really big, not too much bigger than these, and he's not to scale for the Transformers, thank goodness, because that would be massive of a model kit. But he is a bigger version, and I also would like to do Sideswipe when if they ever come out with him. Now I have also done some other things though. I don't have them actually right here with me. Even I've given them away as gifts, but I'm also really big into airplanes. So I built some airplanes specifically as well. And let me just say, especially going from Gundam, airplane model kits can really suck. And the reason why I say that is that they are sometimes just garbage models to start with. I feel like there is so much work to put into an airplane kit to make it actually look good. Lots of fun with painting, for sure, but man, we're talking about scribe work. We're talking about like sanding down with files in order to make them work correctly. Like it's really been some headaches to make these airplanes as well. So I've definitely put airplanes are on my back burner. I do like to do them. I have an F-16 just sitting on my paint shelf that I need to finish up, but man, I'm just like, these missiles are going to take so much work. I have to mask and tape off everything just to get some good painting going down. And that's even with brush painting. Oh, anyway, I can ramble on. Gundams is definitely my flavor for the most part. I do like also, I'm looking to pick up all, because there's only like 5 of them, the Pacific Rim kits. They're also Bandai made, but I'm a big fan of what Pacific Rim did in the first place. Not just the kits, but the show, or the movie. Specifically that second one, man, that second one was awesome. I particularly would like to do a Pacific Rim kit because I want to see what weathering I can do with them, because like if there's any kits that need weathering, it's either a Zaku from Gundam or it is a Pacific Rim kit. Like they need weathering all over. We're talking about streak marks, we're talking about rust, everything, just because of all the wear and tear they receive. So I love the idea of jumping into them. And as a matter of fact, I've only with what things I've done recently, I only need to buy one more Gundam model kit to have the collection that I'm looking for. I'm super stoked about that. And it's a Flowers Gundam from Gundam 00, but Calamity version. I want to do the Calamity version, not the pink one. So there's a P Bandai version of that, but I think I'm just going to buy the Flowers Gundam and then paint it over. There we go, guys. We actually have our panel lining. Excuse me, not our panel lining. Our scribing done for this, so that way when Wing Zero separates his Buster rifles, they're going to look awesome because they're going to be absolutely right there set to what they're supposed to be. It's going to mimic this specifically. Yellow on both sides is what I'm going to boil it down to. Everything else, though, underneath here, I looked at some of the other anime source materials, and it looks like it does not go underneath, which I thought was surprising, but well, I'm going to check one more time before I actually do final painting, and maybe even watch a few episodes with Wing Zero in there to make sure that it does not go underneath. It doesn't go underneath here. Kind of looks a little bit awkward if you ask me, but Gunpla is also freedom, so you can make that yellow underneath there too. So we'll paint the gold here first, and then we will mask off the gold, and then paint the whole thing. It's grays and it needs air afterwards. Evo, asking me about have I done any resin kits. I've actually really wanted to jump into some of them, but I haven't yet. So they need a lot of painting from the start. Like, they need a lot of painting as well. There hasn't been one, though, that has really just like, hey, I've got to do that. I've got to do that one. The closest one that has caught my attention was the Perfect Grade Goof resin kit. So a resin kit is actually so it's not fully made out of resin. Some you can buy fully made out of resin beard peels, but it really is, hey, here's some modified pieces for an already existing kit. But they're also, like, somebody has sculpted these out specifically, so then that way you can, purchase what they've molded out, made out of resin specifically, versus the PVC plastic that Bandai uses, to go ahead and make, this very special version of an already existing kit. So yeah, some resin kits look good. I mean, if you want to look at a really good example of like a resin kit, just look at any Sasasbi resin kit. Like, they make one for real grades, they make it for the master grade version, but it's the one that really stands out the most as far as those versions, or like if you want a fine example of like a resin kit. Yeah, super armor type, heavy in the panel lining. I mean, they're great to do, or from people that I've seen. I've seen some in real life as well done at some conventions. But once again, it's really just not my flavor. It takes the simplicity and the beauty of the basic designs that I really like in the first place, and just over-exaggerates them, even beyond what they really are supposed to be. Real grades is pretty much as much detail as I really want, or even... I haven't jumped into a perfect grade yet, but real grades is really definitely my happy place as far as detail goes. And it's not because I don't like detail. I mean, it's a weird thing, right? We're modeling, so... But maybe call it a Pokemon syndrome because I want to catch them all type deal. And sometimes like the resin kit would just take me away. Maybe when I'm like 6 years old and I built every single kit that I have, then yeah, I'll go maybe grab a resin kit because I'm bored out of my mind. But outside of that, though, like, my real passion is to create scenarios. So I want to actually really jump into dioramas. That's like that's my next goal. And actually, this is going to be the part of that though too, because after we do Wing Zero, we're also going to do Mercurius Invae 8. Which in the show, Wing Zero fights both of them at the same time. So, with those newer model kits that they came out for them, I'm excited to build that and make that scenario really happen. Yeah, so even Mikey, you're not wrong. You have to paint everything, no matter what, with a resin kit. And they do have a lot of detail because somebody once again has sit there and hand sculpted it, as well. They hand sculpted it to make it happen. So anyway, I'm actually back here with our resin piece, and not not our resin, our epoxy. So once again, I filled this in. I do have a big scene from the show. I'll take a picture and upload it to the. Actually, I think I have it available right now. Give me just 1 second. I'll go get my phone and I should be able to post the big scene. I have actually a pretty large diorama that has 10 Gundams on it. They're not on my shelf behind me, so I figured, hey, they were taking up too much space, so I'm gonna go make the scene. So give me a second here, and I'd love to show that off to you guys. I'll drop it into the Discord. Hey, so thanks for waiting up there, but hopefully you guys got to see a couple of pictures. I only threw in two for now. It's actually really, really big. I want to say it's about 4 feet long to make the scene appropriate. And so I'm still working on it, but it's in the garage. It's not cased up yet though as well, but the ground has been done and the majority of the work has been done for it. Just need to case it up now. And I just have slacked on that portion. Oops, sorry, I was off camera there. Yeah, I can totally agree with that. So it's creating dioramas is my next evolution, I think, within my building. I've done some small stuff, but I really want to. I have a very ambitious project for Gundam 00, where excuse me, not Gundam 00. I'm sorry, that's the one that you saw. The ambitious project is for Iron-Blooded Orphans. I'm working, still collecting on all the Gundams for it, which is Floros is the last one. Flowers, whatever. Is the last one I'm trying to get. Anyway, it's going to be a diorama that's a very large one as well, squared shape, where it's going to have what's called the mobile armor, Hashmal, in the dead center. And from Hashmal, it's going to have 4 sections marked off, or broken off, to show 4 different sceneries. And the 4 different locations that we actually see the Gundams take place in the show, is the idea behind it. From there, with it, it's going to have 2 Gundams that we see fight in those different locations as well, fighting Hashmal all together. That probably did not describe it very, very well. I've had to actually, and like if mini dioramas, drawing them out really helps to see the idea, but I drew it out and it looks pretty cool. We're just filling this in, and now that we've already done our hard filing to get the bigger epoxy off, we're now filing with our sandpaper just to smooth it out. So let's just bird's eye view. I know this is the second most fun part of it all. Now I actually might build this because I think there's going to be some errors though as well. I feel like there's going to be some errors if we paint this first. We're going to scratch it because we have to get underneath it as well to properly lay this piece down. You can see now that that resin is set, sanded it down. You can barely even see it, but yeah, it's nice and smooth, and it's going to be solid when we paint it. Simple as that. I'm going to send a little bit more here though on top. There's a seam line as well as a nub. Evo Mikey, if I could ask you, is the stream quality better this week, specifically? I know you mentioned in the last couple sessions that you were on that things were looking really, really choppy. I've been working to address that, and I wanted to hear your feedback. Is it smooth, as could be expected? Okay, way better. Awesome. I found out what the issue is. Believe it or not, it was my hard line is actually acting up. So my power line adapter is not working really great that I have that lets me come upstairs. So believe it or not, I got a new Wi-Fi router and it does not like to jump up here through a power line adapter. As that is the case, I strictly went to Wi-Fi, which I thought was odd that I would have better service over Wi-Fi, but indeed I do. So I was getting my my full megabits, downloading it, uploading at that point. So thank you for the feedback that it was an error in the first place, so that I could really adjust it. I did not bring my proper separation tool here. I left it in my paint spot in my garage. Because my son decided, hey Dad, I want a rainbow Sanaju. And so I had a leftover Sanaju, and we have been painting him rainbow. It is quite an interesting endeavor, to say the least. So I've actually come to conclusions that I want to place this before I continue painting. Oh man, that is a tight spot. I have some reservations. Alright, well. No time like the present. We're just gonna, because we're already painting. I've come to the decision while we were actually working here, guys. Since we're gonna paint this the yellow here, we might as well just paint the whole thing yellow and then just tape off these areas that need to stay yellow afterwards. And that's why I went that's why I'm going this route. It's not like I would normally like to paint these parts first before I put them in there, but also I'm worried about this tiny space here underneath it. So we're probably barely gonna see that with the final build, but we're gonna see these other seam lines though. And so I need to let it set, and I need to let it set for like 24 hours as well. So we're gonna get it setting as soon as possible. This is a thin liquid cement. It dries pretty quickly. I should have got my little bit thicker one because there's a lot to go around here this time. And this is a soft plastic too, so the more pressure we can put on it, the better. The key here is to layer and layer and layer, especially with the thin one. We're gonna go back probably like 3 times to get this right. We want this to press nice and smooth so we can be, I don't want to say aggressive, but definitely not going gentle into the knife for this one. If anything, this is one technique that will really help to enhance your building. If you're doing high grades, or even some master grades. We did some on the Death Size Gundam in another show. Alright, so we got one layer on. We're just literally just start right back over. Keeping it close to the line, but if it goes outside of it, it's okay too. Just note that you can't touch the line at all, so that we don't impress in your fingerprint, as a matter of fact. We're not looking to make our finger a permanent resident on our kit. I don't think you have to get like in between every single one of these cracks. Like that's hardly going to be seen right there at all. Just once again, where it's going to be visible. And I think we're at a good spot. Pressing it very firmly together. And now here's my final coat that I'm going to do to help melt this into place. And since we have a lot of straight edges here, we are definitely going to use our straight edge plastic sander in order to do this one. If not, it's gonna be super round, and that's definitely not what we're looking for, especially for a weapon. A weapon needs to be nice and squared off, if you ask me. Still pressing it tight as we go, because we're still getting more into the seam there. So we're going to do the yellow pieces. We're going to spray them yellow, of course, and spray the gold there on top of it to get the color that we've been using for the whole Gundam. And then we'll mask them off is our next stage. And then after we mask them, we're going to paint the whole thing its base gray color that we're going to go with here. I'm thinking we're just going to go... I don't know yet. I know I may have sounded sure when we first started this, but I have now just not decided. I got multiple grays, that's the problem. I got too many grays. We can always look at the booklet though, get some ideas from that. Actually, I'm very curious, what does it say? Alright, let's see. Some Japanese. Where is the buki? Buki is the word for Japanese. Well, in this case, it's rifle. And rifle it's 45% gray, and then we see 40% navy blue, and then last but not least 15% black. So I do actually have a blue gray. Yep, blue gray color that will work for that. It does mention the other secondary color, which is gray, navy blue, and black again, just different quantities this time. Almost a 50-50 ratio, except for one drop of black, it looks like. So, if you really also want to help out with your Gundam kits, learn katakana. Because this kit is from 2014, and all of its color schemes are in Japanese. But katakana is a very, very easy one to do. Because this, for instance, is Gude, Navy, Blue, Budu. Oh, it's so hard to want to say it in Japanese without doing the English. It's weird. It's weird to me. But yeah, if you learn the katakana, most of those colors for the color palettes will be easily understood. If you don't already know it. Ooh, beer peels, good question. Always hand press. If you have like the small vices, you could use it. I have no beef one way or the other, or no preference one way or the other either. So I just use hand press just because I haven't invested in any vices. But I guess not in that sense. But overall, I've had good success with the presses, with the hand pressing. Feel my years of building Gundams. Got a big old nub right there. Let's go get it. Beard peels, your questions are not inane at all. And that, as a matter of fact, these are great questions to be had in the first place. Some people may know. But yeah, I got most of the colors in my... sadly, like, my memory does have most of my colors inside of it. And if I don't know the name, I still know what it looks like in general. I have it... but you know what's really funny about that? There's some colors I haven't even used, or... this rainbow Gundam that I'm making for my son because, you know, he's 5 years old. Rainbow is a cool color right now. And you even ask him, what's your favorite color? Rainbow! And it's like, that's not a color by itself, dude. And he's like, but I like them all. Is his answer to that. So, yeah. But with this rainbow one, that I've literally used every single shade of my color palette so far across the board. I've used all my greens for the green section. I used all my oranges. I've only got like two and a half. Excuse me. Yeah, 2.5. I got a custom one. And then I've used all 3 of my reds. And then I've used all my yellows. So I've literally been experimenting with them all, seeing how they all paint as well, which makes a really big difference. I have also been on the side experimenting with gold and really trying to get better at it because I hate it. But this kit, if anything, has been an example of what I can do with yellow and gold. It's taken some work, but it's definitely been an improvement. Alright, there's one coat. Let's go for another. We're not going to be able to sand this down tonight, though, for obvious reasons. It needs to sit overnight. So I'm going to actually get this sanded, though, between now and the next show, so that it'll be nice and smooth, and we can actually see our painting section and paint this up. I do have one more final thing to go over with everybody tonight, though, before we drop off. Yeah, I'm really happy that we decided to do this now, because that's really not going to show at all. Now there are times though with this seam line repair that I'm doing that where, for instance, we're seam line repairing right over a panel line. If that's the case, it is okay to get your scribe tool out and fix it after it dries. Very, very easy fix. You've already got, once again, guidelines for it in the first place. Just run your panel line, just run your tool through it, and it fixes it right up. Guys, I'm sorry for all the sniffles. The allergies have been awful this last 2 weeks. Like, absolutely just ghastly. Last spot right here. Oh, wait, right there. Surprise! Right. I am super stoked to actually see this done now, because it's looking good, and I know it's kind of hard to tell, but yes, the seam lines are actually going to be really nicely finished up here after we sand it down. And I think I'm going to go with like, I haven't decided my pose for him yet, especially because he's going to have 2 other enemies to look at and fight. But we'll see what it looks like at the end of it. Alright, so the final thing I want to show tonight is actually this shield. So this part has actually been fully painted and ready to go. Except for the small minor details right here. These are going to match what we do in the gun, though. That's why I've waited for that. But we've actually did the seam line repair for this area, and we have actually painted this prior though as well. So like, how do we handle that? How do we take care of that? without messing up our painting. This technique can possibly be used on the other piece that we were just working on. The main reason why I didn't do it though is because of how much space there is actually to cover in that instance. So, oh goodness, I thought I was ready for it. Thought I had my 3mm tape up here. We need to mask this off. That's what it boils down to. And now I'm kicking myself in the shins, guys. You can't see it, but it's hurting. So we need to mask that off, so then that way we can sand it. And it's just the reverse, just mask it this way. And then we have to mask it again separately for its painting. But I'm gonna go ahead. I'm sorry to say, won't be able to show you because I'm looking to get it done for you guys tonight. I'm gonna freehand it. And as far as freehanding goes, that came out perfect. Yeah, I got them both. Wow. Yeah, it's a lucky day. Lucky Gundam Wingsday. Almost done. Once again, really being mindful of the paint itself, keeping away from it kind of actually as much as possible. There we go, guys. Whew. Can't see it, but I was literally sweating doing that one. So now it's ready to go get that ivory paint with that white top coat, and we will finish it up. And then that's how that will be. There's actually not much more to this than that. This sits on top of here. And then final, last but not least piece is this one. Now this does need to be hand painted, the red right here around it. And so that sits here like that. And then our shield will be completed as well. So, anyway guys, here's Wings Zero once again. Look at all the work we put in. I'm really digging the wing effects. Like that reverse washing came out so good, specifically. So that's why he's already deserving to be on the shelf. So we're on the final two things here. Just gotta finish painting the shield. We're gonna go sand down and paint the guns. We'll have those ready for you next week to see those final touches. So, thanks for joining in tonight, guys. I hope you had fun. Hope you learned a few things. It was great talking with you all. And I will catch you on the flip side.